Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today, we have the Civivi Anthropos, designed by Elijah Isham. I'm saying Anthropos. I'm pretty sure that's how you're supposed to say it. I think Civivi Anthropos sounds like the girlfriend of a Bond villain, or, the female sidekick of a Bond villain or something like that, or a Bond villain herself. This is 2019. But a very, very cool knife, very cool design from Civivi, and kind of a surprise. Not that I didn't expect another knife from Civivi. They're pumping them out right and left. But I didn't really think collaborations were going to happen with the Civivi line. I thought that was something they'd save for the Wii line, the higher end one. If you don't know, Civivi is the budget brand of Wii knives. But if they're going to do one, unsurprising, it's Elijah Isham. He does a lot with Wii. He's a great designer. Really good first choice, have to say. Good on that. It's also a new price point for them. Previously, the 9CR knives were $42. All the D2 stuff was $68. This is $74.80. The D2. That's probably, I imagine, because there's a collaborator involved. People got to get paid. I assume that's why. But who knows? But otherwise, material pretty similar to what you see in the $68 ones, with one change, which I think was a good one. You have D2 steel, as I mentioned. This carbon fiber over G10 laminate, stainless steel liner lock, and the big change is they switched to the loop over pocket clip, more similar to the $42 knives. I like that. I was not always a fan of the titanium milled pocket clip they put on the other D2 ones. Not only was it not deep carry, it just didn't seem to look right on a lot of them. This one looks great. They've gone with this whole blacked out look, and I really, really like it. We'll talk more about the looks here as we go on, because I want to compare it to some of the others, because it's kind of an amusing observation I have about that. I hope that will come up in just a couple minutes. But yeah, also I almost forgot steel bearings, and looked to me like a ceramic detent, but steel bearings definitely inside there. I did take this thing apart, so. Let's get moving on to some specs and size comparisons before we get too much farther. This is going to be, by the way, a full review, but I will say I've only had this for a day, but I have put it through its paces today. I've been out of town, and I just got back and had to catch up on a whole lot of stuff, which involved a whole lot of hacking of cardboard and things like that, and out in the garage and doing all that crap. So I did actually put it through its paces pretty good, but I just want to say up front, just... I have only had a day with this, so take that what you will. But it will be appearing in some more comparison tests and stuff like that. I'll already show you what one of them is going to be that I'll probably start working on next week. I have a few more things to do before that. But anywho, the specs. You have an overall length of 7.4 inches, blade length of 3¼ inches. You have a blade thickness of just under 0.12 inches. And a handle thickness of 0.48 inches with a weight, according to my scale, of 3.3 ounces. It's pretty good weight. Your average handle thickness, that kind of what you come to expect from Civivis now, fairly thin blade stock. Let's do some size comparisons. We will first of all put it in our usual Spyderco sandwich with your Paramilitary 2 here up top. I'm going to try and line up the pivots. And the Para 3. So you can see it's kind of between them. It's funny, it's got a longer blade than the Para 3, but shorter handle. So they're actually fairly similar if you put them butt to butt. Yeah, you see the Civivi's just a hair bigger, just about 1/4 inch longer. And now let's do, we'll do one more of the standards here. I don't have them all out. Like I said, I just got home, but we have the Benchmade 551 Griptilian. The full size, a little bit smaller than that. Here is a knife you are going to see it compared to in a Battle Tool of Death, because I think they beg for it. Pricing isn't that different, and as you can see, size is almost exactly the same. This is the steel wheel Lanner, also D2 blade also. And now I'm going to pull out a couple more Civivis. One of them is the last you're going to see on the channel, because I did let it go, but I haven't had a chance to ship it out yet because I was out of town, so this is going out tomorrow. We have the Civivi Statera, also D2, and this is one of the $68 ones, and the Civivi Backlash. So these are both 3.5 inch ones, so you can see it's a little smaller than that. Now, as I said, see, this is the titanium pocket clip the $68 ones come with, but This comes with basically the same pocket clip. Yeah, it is the same pocket clip you get on the 9CR models. I'm fine with that. This pocket clip works great on the Statera. It doesn't work as well on some of the others, and I prefer just a simple loop over clip. I just think it works a little bit better, and I don't mind it being the same price with that clip, because if I could buy those clips, I would have put one on almost every other one of the $68 ones I had, but they don't let you buy these. But here's the funny thing I had to say about the looks, and this is the first real review category. This is an Elijah Isham design. They're usually kind of over the top. This is not. This is, ironically, I think, the most civilized Civivi design, looks-wise. It does have the typical, I call it the eye hole, the Elijah Isham hole, that he always has a hole in his blade. It's got that. It's got that swoopy handle look of an Isham. As far as the shape goes, it's still not over the top, but it's a bit, bit flamboyant. But it doesn't have the bright liners that you see. Like all the other Civivis have liners of some color or another. This just has plain gray bead blast liners. It doesn't have bronze hardware or blue hardware or anything like that. It's just got blacked out hardware. This particular version is the black on black one, of course, because I'm boring, and that's what I would get. There is two different other colors. You can get blue, where the G10 is. So the carbon fiber is still black, obviously, but the G10 itself is blue, or orange. Now those are a bit bright, but if you get this version, it's kind of the plainest looking Civivi you can get, and it's an Isham. And I just think I think it's great, but it's just kind of, thought that was kind of funny. Overall, I do really like the looks of it a whole lot. Pictures don't do it justice. This video is not going to do it justice. I said the same thing about the Statera. Yeah, some people get wound up about the carbon fiber over G10 laminate because it's not real carbon fiber all the way through. It looks good. They do a great job with it. They do an awesome, awesome job with it. And I think this one is even better than the Statera. The Statera, I could feel not sharp edges, but you could feel some, I guess, that, for lack of a better word, sharp edges in the milling. This has more minimal milling, but you don't feel anything at all. Everything else is really well rounded off. And I just like these little accents. Just this nice little touch to kind of accentuate, the flow of the design. I love the look of this eye hole. I think it looks great. I like just all you see is that Civivi logo. And, another looks thing. Isham's got a new logo, a new maker's mark, and I think it's freaking awesome. Look at that. It's his face. I don't know if you've ever seen Elijah in pictures, but he is for lack of a better word, eccentrically styled man. He sticks out in a crowd. It's him from a mile away, and that's what he looks like. He's got the big handlebar mustache and the glasses. That's what he looks like, and that's really cool. I really like that better than the shield that I've seen before on stuff. I hope he's using that on everything now, because that's awesome. That's just really cool. Again, the all blacked out and gray looks. I like it. I think that these liners were a better choice even than, doing black or something like that. And I think even this finish was a good choice, because you can see the bottom of the blade there is finished the same. It's a very nice looking knife in person, but it doesn't look crazy, which is great. Talk about the blade. That is the most important part of a knife, right? Next thing we're going to move on to D2 steel, as I said. Civivi, they do a good job with the D2. They've been doing it a while. They know what they're doing. Very thin blade stock, as I said, or fairly thin blade stock. I guess you can't even call this very thin anymore. Everybody's getting thinner and thinner and slicier and slicier. Just under 0.12. I think I measured 0.116 or 7 or something like that. 14 thousandths behind the edge. That is one of the best things that Civivi and we are doing lately. Their stuff is so thin behind the edge. And as you'd expect, extremely slicey. Like I said, this has been put through quite a bit of cardboard today, and it's still a laser beam. Very high flat grind. This thing is an awesome slicer. Awesome. I give no caveats. It's awesome. I'd put it up there with almost anything. There may be a few that are just a little bit better, but I think you could count those on less than the fingers of one hand. It's a great slicer. Now, the tip is not particularly robust, but it's not horrible. Like you've got this, you have a little swedge here, so it's hard to really see. But yeah. And then we'll go to ergonomics. I'm going to skip to one part because one of the things I like the most about the ergonomics also applies to the blade. So you can see in the grind here, they left this finger choil, this forward finger choil, which is a useful finger choil. It might not be if you have really fat fingers. You have to move back a little bit, but it's still, you get plenty of space. But what I like is that on the grind, they made it a little bit wider, because I have had a couple recently where everybody's going to these really thin blade stocks, and then they still add in the forward finger choil, and the blade stock is still super thin, so you have a nice forward finger choil that your finger fits in, but if you put any pressure on it, it's sharp. I like that they gave you a little bit more meat to grab a hold of, and it looks cool. I like that. Otherwise, ergonomically, also it's still great. It fits in my hand really well. I have large size hands, but skinny fingers, and very long fingers, and it fits really good. I can still get all 4 fingers on easily in this normal kind of saber grip. It is the typical kind of, I'm going to say not typical. It's like they took the usual Elijah Isham. I always want to call him Elisham, like I've invented a name for him. Took the usual Isham kind of handle design, and I feel like he toned it back like 10 or 15%. It doesn't have quite as much of that as like the it's like the mini Therium. You know, it's a bit more normal than that, but it still has that very deep forward finger groove. And all my fingers fit on it well. If you have really big fingers, you might not be able to get all 4 on here, but I can completely fine. And choking up, like I said, it works great. Nice comfortable place for your thumb to land. I do feel this pocket clip right here just a tiny bit, because it hits right. It hits like right there. So I do kind of feel that just a little bit. I wouldn't call it a hot spot, but I do feel it for sure. Other than that, I have absolutely zero complaints ergonomically. This carbon fiber is not grippy, but it's not super slippery either, but you don't really need it. There's no jimping, and it doesn't really need that either. You're pretty much locked in either one of the ways you use this, just because of the nature of this handle design. So ergonomically, excellent. Carry-wise, also extremely impressed. You have the yield wranglers here. I'm going to do it up, well, I'll do them upside down first. Your hand slips right by it. Get that, jump myself up. And it slides in and out easy. Pocket clip tension's excellent. And you're just sliding on this carbon. And your hand goes right by it. Super easy. There's no flipper tab sticking out, because it uses that forward flipper. Works great. Really nice knife to carry. Definitely is. It's a little tall, but it's actually, it's average height, but, you know, a lot of trend for these slim knives. So, some people might call this a little tall. I would call it just kind of average. Now, deployment. That was something I was very interested to see what Civivi was going to do, because if you've watched previous reviews of me or almost anyone, a lot of Isham's designs are very difficult to get correct when it comes to that, just because he likes multiple deployment methods, and he's very fond of this forward flipper tab, which is also a bit of a challenge. If you get it right, it works great, but you have to really get it right. And Civivi is known for like having really awesome detents. All their knives are great fidget fun toys. I wasn't sure if they were gonna get this right, because a couple people haven't. Like Kaiser Theta was, you can make it good, but I know I had to play with mine a little bit, and a lot of people have to play with them. It's not bad out of the box. It's fine, but it's not great. And the mini Therium was kind of the same. It was really good, but it wasn't quite great. Civivis have always been great. I was like, are they going to get it great? With the flipper tab, yes, absolutely. It is every bit of Civivi. The detent with that forward flipper tab is perfect. Snappy as can be. Just bang. Now, part of the reason why I think they got it great, too, is you can definitely use multiple deployment methods for this, but this particular version of the eye hole, I'm not going to call it decorative, because you can thumb flick it. You have to move your thumb way down here and just use just that little bit on the end. And now I'm not, yep, there it goes. And give it a bit of wrist, and it'll go. But it's not, I don't think they really intend for you to use that a whole lot. So maybe that's, part of the reason why. And you can slow roll it, sort of. But your finger's going to hit right there, and then you kind of got to go past. But yeah, it does still definitely have multiple points. Spidey flick, forget it. I tried a million times. I couldn't make it go. But the detent, yeah, they got it right. This little forward flipper tab is hard to get right. And of course, Civivi got it right, if anybody's going to get it right, because all their detents are just awesome. You know, that's Deterra is great. The $42 Backlash has a detent that no $42 knife deserves to have one that good. So, not surprising, but I'm very glad that they got that right. That was my one concern I had, you know, just initially when they announced they were going to be making an Isham design. Now, my overall opinion, it's awesome. I mean, it's my favorite Civivi, which may be a cop out because it's the most expensive one, but it is. It's just a great freaking knife, and it's stylish without being over the top. It's really, really nice. I'm quite impressed, and so impressed that I'm struggling to say exactly all the reasons I'm impressed. It's just a great working knife. I think the price is completely fair for what you're getting. Yes, it's pushing the bounds for a D2 knife, but everything else about it is so freaking nice. You get all the usual Civivi stuff. You know, you get the box, you get the pouch, all those things. You know, Civivi always makes it feel like you bought a more expensive knife, and I'm very impressed with this one. And I think Elijah's just a great dude, and I'm very glad to see one of his designs coming out, and what I know is going to be quite high volume. So very, very happy for him, and happy for just this design. It's great. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.